Welcome back to the Ben and Rich YouTube channel. Well, guys, we're back to the LTD. So we had a little progress done off camera just to kind of move things along a little faster, save you the boring stuff. You know, we threw some brake calipers on it, and you know, you gotta have brakes, right? We got the clutch finished up last week, so that was a win. So now it's time to see if we can get this thing to start. So we did go ahead and lay out some of the wiring. Everything is plugged in. I did throw on some radiator hoses. You kind of seen them laid out. There is some BS going on with the heater hoses, and I'll show you that and explain that a little more in a second here. But by golly, guys, I think we just kind of set the computer in, and man, we should purge the fuel system. We haven't done that yet, so we'll disconnect our fuel line. We're gonna do something better. We're probably gonna flare this, put an AN line, run it up along the back maybe. This is kind of, I mean, it'll work. It's right over the header, and we can do better by all means, but it's what we had laying around to hurry up and get this thing started for you. Let's see what we can do. All right, so a little closer inspection of the wiring. I just want to show you guys. And you're seeing this contraption. It looks like absolute hell. But if you're familiar with Fords and you're familiar with LS cooling systems, so you should loop the heater hoses, or you should have some sort of, basically loop these dudes or run them through a heater core. Fords though, they shut off coolant flow to the heater core, so it's not cranking the heat the whole time. So what you gotta do is you gotta have a bypass so it loops, and also it can flow through the heater core as well. So we did just throw our shutoff back in, and then we threw just a couple plastic tees to get us by. And it'll work. Now there is fancy billet aluminum, and we'll probably upgrade down the road. Is it necessary now? No. But we did top off the coolant, and one thing you should know real quick, and I didn't show you, and I apologize ahead of time, is that when you're running a normal radiator with an LS, you got to fill it from the engine block first. So normally, if you're running the coolant reservoir that's over here, it fills through the lower hose, fills the block, fills the radiator, everyone wins, right? In this situation, goes through the radiator, goes through the lower hose, and then what? It ain't getting past the thermostat. So you always want to pull this upper hose loose and fill your block first, right? So then it can actually sense coolant, and that gets warm, and then your thermostat opens, and then everyone wins. So back to what's important. We did flash a BS tune in the computer, basically just turning off VATs. Our buddy Rusty's our super tuner. I don't get a ton into it, so he's gonna help us dial this one in when the timing's right. But we did grab some super minty fresh Amazonian stock mount brackets there. We did have it kind of test fitted behind the glove box. It's gonna work, it's gonna be just fine. But the only thing we haven't tied in yet, guys, is we gotta tie in the ignition wire for the key hot. We did tie in the starter wire, but I think we're gonna clip it for starting purposes. We are by ourselves today. We ain't got the help of my dad or anyone today. But I'm gonna show you it does crank with the key. And then we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna do the purge together and see if we can purge out that fuel system, get that going. By golly, guys, if the fuel system purges out and the relay clicks and the fuel pump does what it's supposed to, you know what that means? Well, let's find out. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and toss the computer in. It's gonna get all tidied up, guys. This is just trying to, a little trial and error on fitment. But we are running a red-blue PCM, if you're familiar with the LS stuff. It is just a 99 2000 early style. I got them on locked-in HP tuners. You know, it's free, so keep it cheap, right? Plus, we are running a drive-by cable and all that stuff, so we got our super Amazonian harness. The fuel pump wires ran, so really, we just got to get this wire a little juice, and we should be able to purge our fuel pump. So that's what we're going to go for. We got to get some fuel in it. And oh my God, I think that's next. Making it difficult with one hand, that's for sure. Like I said, as long as that fuel pump kicks on. Now, there is no fuel in it. We did not test it after we put that pump in there. So realistically, it wouldn't hurt much to just key it on anyways. I mean, with the fuel, we're gonna disconnect it. We are gonna jack up the back of the car. We do got the hoist kind of kicked out. You never know. I mean, I put the clutch in this thing, and I mean, it's in neutral. But we don't want to get ran over or go through my garage door, so let's get this computer hooked up the rest of the way and see what happens. All right, guys, we got some good old 93. I guess we can check and see if there's any leaks, right? That'd be the next thing. I'm just kidding. Brand new tank, better not leak, right? Man, these filler necks guys are garbage. Bring me back the old tanks. I'm gonna go ahead and dump 5 in her. That should be enough to, hopefully enough to make it start anyways, you know what I'm saying? All right, got our fuel line disconnect tool. Got a little factory safety clip anyways. Get that dude out of the way. That's what I like about them OEM lines. It gives you that protection, but in this instance, like I said, we're probably gonna go AN just to, I don't know, route it a little different, you know? But at least this way, we can get it going. So let me find a bottle or something to put over this dude so it ain't gonna spray fuel everywhere. At least this way it'll purge out the fuel system. If there's any trash or anything in the lines, it'll clean it all out anyways too, so. So we should be able to touch our ignition wire to our power. Ready? Oh, there we go. She's making fuel pump noises. All right, like we said earlier, we're gonna go ahead and just kind of lift the back of the car up. I did just put the hoist on the back. Just enough to get those tires off the ground, guys, just in case something happens. All right, so, moment of truth. Now, we don't have much voltage. We got the jump box. She's dying down. But let's go ahead and purge out the fuel rails. Make sure there's no leaks. Oh yeah, she's laboring now, guys. I'm gonna set the ignition. Got my ignition wire twisted together. All right, you ready? Let's give it a shot. Yeah! Hell yeah, guys, hell yeah. We gotta go ahead and see if we can keep her going a little bit of the oil pressure. That's awesome. That is a win. That is a freaking win. Man, I wish we had a throttle cable. That is awesome, guys. Heck yeah. All right, let's give it a shot again, just to see. We want some oil pressure, and maybe, I mean, by all means, it could idle, maybe. I don't know. Let's just give it a shot. You ready? Dogs up. Gavin came out, heard her fire up, so he's gonna go ahead and watch the oil pressure, make sure we got something, and then remember, guys, there is no downstream or upstream O2 sensors, but it will run an open loop for a little bit. So, but hold it right there, Gav, and let's see. We want to watch that oil pressure. Hopefully, this dude right there moves. That's what we're shooting for. You ready? Clear?
Yep.
that's what we were looking for. So I think our next project we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and start tidying up some of this stuff, clean the interior. We got our shifter boot, get all that put together. You see our dome lights are working. I mean, things are happening, guys. This thing will be heading to Rusty soon to go on the dyno, so we're pretty excited, man. We'll see what this thing makes. If you got an idea, drop her in the comments below. I mean, realistically, it is a standard bore 6.0 799 sloppy stage 2 Elgin, so it's like a 430 horse, but we do have the world's shittiest intake on it, so keep that in mind. So I mean, the old Regal I had put down 350 to the rear tires with the same combo, so. But that'll be in a video or two. We're gonna see if we can get it down to him and get that dialed in. But let's go ahead, we're gonna jump back tomorrow, see if we can button up some of that wiring and make this thing do everything it's supposed to. All right, guys, we wanted to get back to that wiring today. I did notice the power steering pump, you know, a minty fresh used one, who would have thought was leaking? So I did stop at the parts store and grab a new one. Well, remanufactured anyways. So trying to find a key hot while cranking, because we need that for ignition, right? You want to be able to crank the damn thing and have it at power the whole time. So, all right, guys, so what we're looking for, we need a wire that has power while cranking. So I think I might have found one. Let's try doing this here. So key on, crank, still got power. Let me hold the test light in there. And then we turn it off, and it's not on with accessory. By all means, it's my holding skills, guys, because look, that thing is working great. So that is what we need. So if the fuse is already missing, it might have been for the old computer in this car, which would be great. So that's what we were looking for. That's the wire we're gonna piggyback into our fuse box there. So we got power while cranking. So it'll get power when it's, you know, rolling over. Because we don't want it to start when you let the key off. You know, I've seen that people do that before, hooked to the wrong ignition wire. And also we don't want it hooked to the radio either, because if you turn it back for accessory and the radio is on, what are you gonna do? Turn the ignition on, right? We don't want that either. So I think that's the dude. And then we're gonna use, oh, this guy here. This is the factory Colorado clutch pedal switch. So we'll go ahead and piggyback that guy in too. So we have to push the clutch pedal down to start it just like factory. Plus I got kids around, dude. That's all I is, my little guy jumping in here and touching her off. She goes zooming down the road. I mean, I'm sure he'd have a good time, but the car might not. So we're gonna go ahead and put a neutral safety switch or clutch safety switch in it as well. That way we can wrap up the wiring and get rid of that damn bird nest and get this dash back together. All right, guys, I'm not sure if you're familiar with a fuse tap. So what I got, because I don't know if that fuse is needed or not, and this will simplify things too, and give us a fuse circuit. So this dude here plugs in the fuse. We just pop a fuse in there. It'll take a second fuse down here for the original circuit, and that'll give us what we need without cutting any wiring under the dash and just simplify it. Plus, if we need to, you know, retain that existing fuse, because this thing, somebody, like I said, this was somebody's backyard race car at one point. So we might need that for the taillights or who knows what to work. So that's what we're gonna do for that. That'll simplify it too, you know. Plus, right. So that's what that guy's gonna look like. They are directional, keep that in mind. So we have power on the lower leg. So we need to send power to the correct leg so it actually utilizes the fuse for our circuit. So, and then we did pop another 20 in there. That's what it calls for. It says warning. Oh, what's it say? It says warn. So, whatever, it'll work. So we're gonna do that, and then we're gonna run that wire across to the other side, and then get to that clutch switch, like we said. All right, so I think what we're gonna do, so this fuse box is gonna get tucked up under the dash, kind of in this area, in this kick panel. Kind of see it back there. So what I'm gonna do, if you guys are familiar with riv nuts, I'm gonna basically go ahead and drill a hole. Well, there's a couple holes already there, just not the right size, of course. And we're gonna take this insert and this dude here, and we're gonna give ourselves a threaded hole. That way we can just kind of bolt that up there. And hopefully with the idea of when we flip the glove box down, because we're gutting that, we should be able to get to it because the computer's gonna sit up in there. At least that way we can hide this thing. All right, guys, there's the finished product. That'll give us a 6x1.0 bolt hole to fasten that fuse box, and then we can get this computer mounted up. So we got that tidied up behind the glove box. Got the computer mounted up. So in theory, we should be able to push our clutch down, turn the key on. We're in neutral. Look at that, hell yeah. Now we are lacking a throttle cable, but hell, it starts right up front pretty decent. Still 40 pounds of oil pressure, can't go wrong with that. Oh, shit. Watch this, guys. The clutch works too. How freaking cool. All right, guys, we got, now that we know she moves, it's the next day. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna get this power steering pump changed. We do gotta change the sector shaft seal on the gearbox. We're not gonna show you that, that's boring. I'll show you this power steering pump real quick here, and hopefully we'll have a throttle cable. We're gonna run out to Wolverton's, get a throttle cable, and then wrap this video up with a nice smoky burnout. We gotta at least try that, right? That'd be the excitement here. It's been a long time coming by all means. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get this power steering pump changed, show you that real quick. And then hopefully next stop, we're putting a throttle cable on. All right, guys, biggest thing you wanna start off with is taking your belt off, get that dude out of the way. Figures we All right, guys, we got that pump off real quick there. I wanted to show you what I was seeing here on the bottom. It's obviously we pulled the line loose, but there's some real spongy spots. You can see it's kind of bubbly. Well, it was leaking out one of them rust bubbles on top of the residual line flow that's leaking down right now. But I'm gonna take this apart, get that swapped out real quick. We'll get it put back on. This stuff's all right. So we got our puller here. Now they make different ones. I know there's Lyle Tool makes one with a couple sleeves and a collar, and yeah, I don't know. They're kind of a pain in the ass. I found there's other brands, but the Snap-on one works pretty nice. The biggest thing is just the ease of use. All right, guys, so they got a special pusher tool right here for installing the pulley. So basically this is a 3/8/16. Now I've seen guys do it with a long bolt and a nut and a washer. It'll work, but this got a bearing, makes it nice, and this also stops them going on too far because you want the pulley flush. So basically we're gonna go ahead and set that dude on, thread in our tool. We'll go ahead and take it back loose. And with that spacer washer on there, you can see she's sitting flush. So that's what we're looking for. So that simplifies it. All right, guys, we got that all swapped around. And then, so you always want to change the O-ring on your line, which we already did that. And I did change this piece of hose. Before it was just the factory LTD hose. So go ahead and get our line started. We got that set up. She's back in business. So time to go to the junkyard and get a throttle cable and make this thing do a burnout. So we made it out to the to Wolverton's here anyways. Of course it's rainy and we had a little bit of snow. Got to find ourselves a throttle cable, you know what I'm saying? Another one that works is a older Vortec 350 truck. They do have a little bit smaller eyelet where it hooks on the throttle body here, but we've definitely used them in the past and they're quite long. Yeah, the van was a 5.7, so that didn't work out. Plus, they're a pain in the ass to get, so this would be a lot easier anyways. You know, we have no doors, so that makes it easy, right? Let's see. So you usually just go ahead and see if we can do this one-handed now, of course. Get our cruise control cable out. Flip that dude around. There's that end. So you see what we had to do is just kind of pinch these dudes. It's hard to record and get that off there. So we got to go under the dash and do the same thing. And that's what we had to come out here for, guys. You know, some of these throttle cables, I mean, yeah, they sell them, but shit, that's like 30 bucks. You know, that's a tank of gas. Well, in my vibe anyways. Oh, man. I don't know how people do this stuff, man. They live like this. Is just crazy to me. But yeah, now we get to lay under there and unhook that dude. Got that thing loose. So same thing on the inside. You just kind of pinch these two little guys together and they pop loose. Yeah, what a challenge. Be nice if you had two people because you can only push on one of these at a time. But hey, we got it. All right, guys, we'll see you back at the house. Let's get this thing on the car. Well, we made it back from the yard, guys. So we got our cable. I was trying to sort out a couple things. So these here have a round hole where they pop through the firewall on your Chevy trucks. And obviously we know the other side's gonna work because it came off a GM vehicle. But I was looking at our Ford here, and let me see if I get a light in there so you can see what I'm dealing with. So the factory cable, you can kind of see where that hole is, bolted there with 2 bolt holes, and then it has a circular hole. The only problem is obviously it's not the right size. And we can't get a drill from this side to step it up, because we're just gonna run a step drill in there, I'm thinking. Probably the best bet. So I think what we're gonna do is have to crawl underneath the dash again and get it from the inside, hopefully, and get with a step bit, bump it up to the next size. It looks like we gotta go from, I don't know, maybe 1/2 inch up to 9/16. I mean, it ain't very far, maybe 5/8 tops. And that should just snap right in. And looking at the back of the pedal, it looks like it takes the same type of unit. So basically, let me get it back here. So this dude snaps in the back of the pedal. Hopefully that works out. And then since we have to make a bracket because LS4s never came with a throttle cable, we grabbed one of these while we were out there too. This is just a factory Gen 3 LS throttle bracket. I was looking at a couple different ways of fixing it up. I don't know. We'll come up with something that creative here shortly. We just got to primarily work on the cable first, and this will be the only way we can adjust where we need it, how much tension too. So that's what's critical about doing this last. So let's get the drilling, get this cable in, and see if we can get this thing revving up on our own. You know what I'm saying? All right, so we got to go ahead and pull the accelerator pedal out, and then hopefully that'll expose, let's see, where we need to get. Biggest thing, we just got to get our, even if our small impact driver with a step bit will go. All right, let's see what we got for room now. Oh yeah, that should be fine. Let's see if I can get up there. Yeah, so right there, we got to just get up there and step that up a little bit. And then our GM cable will pop right in. So if you look at the pedal, very similar style to the GM too, so. All right, we got that bumped up. We were able to drill it from the inside. So let's see if it fits now. I mean, really it should, it can't not, but you never know. I'll tell you, with this wiper cowl, they don't give you a ton of room. Look at that. Just like it's supposed to. Well, well, well. A little bit of fabrication. We took a little piece of steel, bent it up, drill a hole where the little tower was before, trimmed up a little bit. By golly, I think we got a throttle cable. Let you guys watch real quick. Let me check this unit out. Feels like a new one. Hopefully that was wide open. We'll have to review the footage to find out, but she's almost wide open. She's almost. That's probably enough for this old transmission, but I think it's time to see if she'll do a burnout, right? I mean, that's really what you guys hung around for this long ass video for, was to see if it'll do a burnout. Now remember, it's not tuned, so let's try it. But we'll see what happens, right? Worst case, it blows up, burns to the ground. I mean, whatever. You know, it is. We got like 500 bucks into this car. It's fine. It's fine. Right? 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 I don't know. Let's try it. All right, guys, moment of truth. Let's see what happens. Best we're gonna get, at least today anyways. Hell yeah. The old sidestepping the brake pedal and the clutch and all that stuff. We got some half deflated tires. I'm gonna call that a win for today. All right, on that note, guys, we appreciate you. Make sure you like, subscribe, share all that good stuff. We'll see you on the next one.